Printer's Alley. Where they got all these bars and shit.
That one in the West looks good. That's gotta be.
Oh, they're just remodeling outside that building. Vanderbilt University. Martin Rock and Robert
Back-to-back payoff plus with over $206,000 going out to over 2,000 cash winners.
Slaves over there. 4,000 belong to unknown soldiers of the Civil War. You notice they have rounded tops? That's all of them but 4. There are 4 over there with pointed tops. They belong to the Confederate soldiers that are buried over there. Now, how and why the Confederate soldiers were buried in a national cemetery, we don't know, because it was against the law to bury Confederate soldiers in a national cemetery. But nevertheless, they are buried over there. We have figured out why they have pointed tops instead of rounded tops, and to keep those Yankees from sitting on them again. Now, Memorial Day, the Girl Scout troops and Boy Scout troops here in Nashville put flags on each grave. Oh, the Queen of Country Music. She's our first Nashville-born star. Miss Kitty still travels about 300 nights out of the year. Miss Kitty's home today. Her tour bus is in the driveway. That's a good indication that Miss Kitty's at home. Her first big hit was It Wasn't God, who made Honky Tonk Angels a few years ago on record, so she records with Capricorn. She married to Johnny Wright, who in the earlier days of country music had a duo called Johnny and Jack. Jack Anglin was his partner, and Jack was killed in a car crash on the way to the memorial services for Patsy Cline. If you look in the back, the brick and glass area in the back is her indoor swimming pool. After Jack was killed, Johnny did not show Baker City Ranch. He called it Rainbow Ranch. He's our first foreign-born star. He's from Liverpool, Nova Scotia. He was born 1914. When he was 12 years old, his stepfather ran him away from home. He went to sea. When he came back from sea, he bought his first guitar, was working in a salt mine, and learned to play. He records for RCA, doesn't do much traveling at all anymore. Since he has his own recording studio there at his home, he doesn't even have to get out to record. Check out the antlers above the garage doors. He's very big into hunting and fishing. Still got his old tour bus in the back. The home of Hank Snow. And this little brown home coming up on our left is where his only child lives, Jimmy Snow. Jimmy Snow gave up a very promising music career when he was the Evangel Temple, and it's located out on Dickerson Road. Jimmy Snow's the one who does the Grand Ole Gospel Hour. Comes on Friday nights after the Grand Ole Opry. It's 2 girls and 2 boys. The 2 girls, one of the boys is working in the music industry, and the other boy is a professional golfer. Coming up on our right, this big red brick building on our right is the Marty Robbins Memorial Showcase. This museum houses Marty's racing career and his music career. They even have his race car in there. Back over on the left, behind the gate, 7,000 square feet of living space. Back over on Piece of Life of Christ, also the Bill Monroe Bluegrass Museum is in there. Same building. The big auditorium coming up, this end of it is called the Village Platter. It's a restaurant, and Conway's children are entertaining there. And then the auditorium, when they have their concerts. Back on the left is the rest of Twitty City, Conway's gift shop. And the big 2-story red brick building coming up on our left is the showcase. Now the upstairs is where Conway has his offices. The downstairs is the museum. If you wanted to come out and take a tour of Twitty City, when you come out, you come in the main entrance to the home, plus you get to tour through the museum. In the 50s and early 60s, he played rock and roll. But in 1965, Conway switched over to country music, and he's had one hit right after the other. He's written over 200 songs. Some of them he recorded, some are recorded by other people. His gold albums and records are on display at the showcase in his museum. Now they cut to the back and hang it in the top of the barn, and then they open those little doors. Walking horses yet. We have down in Shelbyville, Tennessee, they have a celebration in August. That's what they call it, the celebration, a 10-day celebration of the Lumen's widow. August from Texas, a member of the Louisiana Hayride. 1948, he came to Nashville, joined the Grand Ole Opry. His big hit was that Sing About Bird Pirates. He was on his way to spring training when he entered an amateur contest, and he won the amateur contest, and he switched over to music. Now, over on our right, behind the white stucco wall, is the home where Roy Orbison used to live. They sold his home last summer. This is actually Roy Orbison's second home out here. He had another house out here on the road, and he and his wife had gone on tour, leaving the children with his parents. 2 of the boys in the blaze. 6 months later, Roy Orbison's wife was killed in a motorcycle wreck. So Roy Orbison left Nashville and went to London, England to live. He stayed there 2 years when they convinced him to come back, and he bought this home here. He has remarried, who lives here, but I always like to point it out because I think it's so pretty. Look at the window above the door. You can see through that window to the stained glass window on the back side of the house. Isn't that pretty? I think maybe a retired tour wall and railroad tie fence at the beginning of Johnny Cash property. Takes us a few seconds to get down to Johnny's home. You can see the lake over there, that old Hickory Lake. Down here now. The wood to build this house came from 14 different homes from 3 different states. Now, Johnny doesn't have any problems docking a boat behind his house. The water behind his house is over 60 feet deep. It's built on a cliff. This house has lots of odd-shaped rooms in it. There was one room that had a tree growing out the top of it. They cut down the tree and then roofed over that section.
My arms security. 24 hours a day.
The master bathroom of this house is made out of rock. Now it has a rock floor and rock wall and rock ceiling, and it has rock fixtures. Now Johnny's sister says that sometimes it won't flush, and it's a little cold to sit on, but it is made out of rock. by the name of Braxton Dixon was building this home. So he finally convinced Mr. Dixon to sell him this home. He paid $350,000 for it in 1967. He moved in with a hot plate and sleeping bag. Decorated the home and there's another one down in the woods, another one of the a larger one. Shaped doors where Roy Orbison's parents live. They're either doing some landscaping or they've had one big sewer problem, one or the other. Now this isn't part of the tour, but see the little beige house on the right over there? Now that's where Tommy Cash lives. That's Johnny's brother. You can see what's the difference in the way the brothers live. That's the difference in the cash. The first window, look between the curtains there and you can see a reflection off of a gold album. You look between the curtains, the first window. You see the reflection? And that's where Johnny's mother lives. It's Ray Cash, and that's his gold album for a boy named Johnny's father passed away 2 years ago. And together they have one son, and he gave it to Johnny Cash. So Johnny has a one piece at a time Cadillac, and we're going to... Would you like to have a car like that in your driveway?
Well, I'd rather have a Lincoln.
Talk of the town?
Yeah, sure would.
That's the inside of this thing. Side is different.
Different doors, little doors.
House. Just take a look at the last two columns. We get down to the last two columns. Look between the columns at the light at the far end. Look at the shape of the light. It makes a tall Grecian urn shape like a big vase. All the outside two columns will make that shape when you look down between the two columns at the light at the far end. Now the Parthenon has been sitting out here by itself. It's been struck by lightning a couple of times, so you can see it is closed. They're going to be doing some work on the Parthenon. They'll need a repair. The inside the Parthenon is the Elgin marble statues. It used to house the Cowan art collection, but I'm sure since they closed the Parthenon for the summer, that the last two. Take a look back, and you can see that shape. About $2. She and George Jones bought this home in '72, paid $1 million for it. This home has 14 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, a temperature-controlled wine cellar, tennis court, swimming pool, and a $10,000 chandelier in the dining room. When she and George Jones were divorced, she got the house and George got a tent here in Nashville. No, actually got some other property that they had. She sold the house to George Lytle, who's president of Gusto Records. He paid $2.6 million for this home. She married George Ritchie, and they bought the house back again in '83, paying $3.6 million for it. Now, when she and George Jones lived there, there were notes all across those front windows, and the notes stood for the song, Stand By Your Man. You know Tammy Wynette? She's done that over and over and over and over again. This next house under construction over here, we found out that the man who owns Dollar General Stores is building this little house out here on Franklin Road. Actually, for the kids now, I want you to take a good look through these gates when we get up here. You should have noticed this little tree house. There's a little tree house up in the tree over there. This is the back of Ronnie Millsap's property, and he had that little tree house built for his son. That tree house is air conditioned. It's got heat. It's got carpet in it. It's got hot and cold running maid. There's another structure coming up on our right over there. This is the big sun. There's two of those over there. I want you to go home and make sure your Tex Ritter. The big white two-story home there when Tex lived there. Mr. Hassadi lives there now. Krispy Kreme donuts. And we know he's rolling in the dough. All right, is the governor's mansion of Tennessee. This home was built in 1929 by the president of the National Life and Accident Insurance Company. It cost $150,000 to build in 1929. The state of Tennessee bought it in 1949 to become the official governor's residence. The home has now, the fence was put up in the 70s. The fence cost $150,000 to put up. The Republicans put it up to keep the Democrats out. The tree on it belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Henry Cannon. See who that is? Minnie Pearl. This is where Miss Minnie Pearl lives. She's from Grinder Switch, Tennessee, a little town outside of Nashville. She graduated in 1932, and she graduated with a degree in Shakespearean literature. She was going to be a serious actress. But after graduation, she couldn't find a job. So she ended up taking a job with a road company. And out on the road, she developed the character of Minnie Pearl. Now, they don't have a turbo at the top of the hill. That's a silver Rolls Royce. They never moved that car. Bought it, set it up there, and it just sits there all the time. I decided they'd use that as a paperweight. Ray Danner is the man who owns Shoney's, Captain D's, and Sailmakers, the Danner Food Corporation. Shoney's big boys. Back over on our left is the front of Ronnie Millsap. It's sight unseen. Ronnie was born blind, educated in the blind schools of North Carolina. Now, he was on the circuit between Memphis and Atlanta when Charlie Pride heard him and told him to come to Nashville and help him get started. Ronnie came to Nashville and Charlie Pride helped him get started when he came to Nashville. His first song was in the top 10. His next 3 songs were #1 hits. He's had 21 #1 hits. Ronnie Millsap. Ronnie's the one who put up the brick wall around the house. Said he bought it from Ray Stevens. There's a park in this area. Go up to the top of the hill to see Webb's guitar-shaped swimming pool. But when Ray Stevens lived over here where Ronnie Millsap lives now, he didn't like that. The buses used to back up down the road. He couldn't get out of his driveway. So go by and check out the guitar-shaped mailbox over. Well, Ray Stevens asked Webb to quit doing that, you know. But Webb said no. He enjoyed his fans coming up to see a guitar-shaped pool, so he kept doing it. Well, Ray Stevens got so upset about this, he got all the neighbors involved in the argument, and they ended up in court. They passed an ordinance here in Nashville stating tour buses cannot stop on Curtiswood. We're not allowed to stop out here on Curtiswood. Where he lives now. Used to be Tex Ritter's property. See how large his home is, ladies. You sure you don't want to be there when they live there? Now, it looks like something's missing. Well, there is. At this end of the house, there used to be a garage, but they tore the garage down because the room over the garage is where Hank did most of his writing. So they tore the garage down and moved it down to Music Row and made it into a museum, the Hank Williams Senior Museum. Old Durham lives there now. I think maybe Mr. Durham had something to do with cars. Hey, darn. So they sent out a rescue plane out around to find the crash site. When the coroner checked Jim Reed's body, it was determined that he had only been dead for 8 to 10 hours. So it took 3 days to find the crash site. And the time hadn't been released. So after his death, they continued to release these songs. He seen country or western. He said neither. I think waiting. Here you go. Where the heck is Ben Peters? know, the big old cardboard fans with a stick on them. Like you used to get at funerals, they used to pass those out and people sit there and fan themselves. Said the only thing they use the Ryman for today is walking tours.